Well, guys, fucking welcome back. I told you guys I made a New Year's resolution to be absolutely on top of the podcast this year because I want to keep bringing you guys value and having amazing guests on the show and keep doing exactly what we've been doing. But today, I'm so excited. Another absolute just longtime friend, dude. Me and you go way back. We have so many memories. I haven't seen you in it's probably been like 3 years at least.
I think 3 years. It was last time I saw you was when you were at the old studio.
Oh my God! When you helped me move my couch in,
Yeah, I think that was the
holy
last time I
hell!
saw you. Yeah.
Oh my God,
I know, a while ago.
dude, hella while ago. Do you mind pulling that mic a little closer too? It moves hella. Yep,
Perfect.
There
Yeah.
you go, dude. Wow, yeah. Holy shit! I was just telling that story to my other buddy who I just reconnected with, a music homie who used to bounce back and forth in the studios all the time with me about the fucking time we moved my old couch from LA down into the basement of my Santa Ana studio.
Yeah. That was it. The Santa Ana studio.
Okay, so dude,
yeah.
that was more than 3 years ago because
Was that really?
I've been in this house for 3 years. October of this past year was 3 years I lived here.
Oh, it had to have been like 5.
It had to have been
like,
5 years ago then.
I think it was probably just after COVID, most likely.
Yeah. Holy hell. Oh my gosh. Well,
Yeah.
it's been an unbelievable amount of time since I've seen you. But dude, guys, I'm so excited. Episode 40 of the podcast. We are back. Today, I have my boy Christian LaValle on the podcast. I'm so excited for this. We were just kind of quickly briefing down before we started rolling of it seems like perfect timing to do this podcast. You know, you've got a lot going on. You're doing a lot of new things, a lot of changes. I haven't seen you, so I'm excited to fucking get into shit. So kind of give everyone a little overview of who you are, what you do, kind of a little bit about yourself, and then we'll kind of dive into some stuff.
Sounds good. Well, Christian LaValle, obviously.
Woo, woo, woo.
Grew up in Ohio and then moved out to California in middle school.
Yup.
Went to high school with Gage my freshman year at Orange Lutheran. And, you know, we hit it off from there because we both loved cars.
Yep.
You know, we loved food. We loved music. Obviously, we're into fitness. Like, so we had a lot of similarities, I think, that have, like, kind of bonded us over time, even though we haven't been around each other.
Exactly.
But we've always kind of had, like, another, I would say, level of just connection as friends.
Yeah,
like,
and I think like mutual respect too, you know what I mean?
100%. And I mean, we've been through so much crap together, dude. Oh my gosh. I don't think half these stories can even be told on this podcast.
I don't even know if they could be online.
But it was we'll just say we enjoyed our time in high school together.
Big time.
So played high school football at Mission Viejo, you know, got an offer to Arizona State, was supposed to go play there. Mm-hmm. Coaching changed, went to Utah State, played a year at Utah State. And then I transferred to Texas Tech and played a couple years there and ended up getting hurt and stopped playing football. And then I went to the strength conditioning side of things. So I took a semester off in between there. And then applied for a strength conditioning graduate assistant position on the Olympic staff.
Damn.
So I did that for 2 years. Worked with every sport pretty much besides football. Mm-hmm. Ended up working my way up to basketball as well. So I did that for my last year, which I got so much more experience. I think one of the big things I told myself was, since football was my entire life, I wanted to do something other than that and learn how to train other athletes. Totally. And I was like, I know what goes on in the football weight room and all that. So I wanted to expand and kind of learn more about, you know, what's volleyball look like, what's golf look like, what's tennis look like, what's basketball look like, all these things. So I gained a ton of experience. I was under an amazing boss out there, Tori Stevens. He runs an amazing internship program. And then I met some of my best friends through that as well, some of the strength coaches. And then from there, you know, I was getting my master's in kinesiology with a concentration in human performance at Texas Tech during that time. So got a lot of really cool experience through that as well. I was a research assistant under Dr. Grant Tinsley in one of his research labs, which was for the energy balance and body composition lab. So got to get published on a few studies with that, wrote my own manuscript. I got to conduct some research in there, so had a
You've done a lot.
done a lot.
You've done a
Made
lot.
the most of my college experience, and then from there, my dad has been in, I would say, precision health.
Legend. Your dad is
yeah.
a legend, dude.
He's
I
been
fucking love your dad.
Your
dad is an animal, bro.
He is an animal.
He's an animal.
Dude, he trains so hard still.
Yeah. Like, genuinely, your dad is like my future goal of physical health and performance 50 plus.
Oh, I know, right?
Like, it's incredible.
He's hard to keep up with. Like, just being honest. Like, I'm not gonna come out here and say like my training has been amazing. Like, this past year is probably my worst year of like staying dialed and like training in my entire life. So I just want to preface that. Like, I struggle with
It's not all roses, guys.
Yeah, no, like I struggle with all the same things that everybody does.
Totally.
Like, even though like it's a core pillar in my life, it's something that I've always done, always been around with my dad, just always been around high caliber athletes, high caliber coaches. I was getting Charles Poliquin's like one of the founders or one of the goats of strength conditioning, I should say. And he literally was evaluating me in like 7th grade. Like,
Jesus.
What seventh graders getting that done?
And that explains why, just to give you guys a little background, from like the day I met this dude, I always called him the water buffalo.
I was going to bring that up at some point.
Because this dude has always been built like a fucking water buffalo, dude. Just the most burly.
Geez.
Dude, I will never forget. I always remember because this was like, it reminded me so old school of like Brian Urlacher days with the neck collar at linebacker. Dude, I will never forget that. I remember being on the field. I was a slot and like a DB, and I remember just watching him like run out. It was just a neck collar, just fucking upper body is like this, just collar ready, just absolutely annihilate people. Just like anything that comes across the field is like, you're gonna have to pay for that. Just whoosh. Dude.
I had to because I had all those. I had the stinger problems. So like,
I remember
I
that.
didn't even have a choice. Like, I had to wear it.
It's like one of my most vivid memories. Like, if I had a talent to draw, I could like so draw you perfectly in the red jersey with the neck collar, like so vividly, dude.
You know what's crazy? Because I was like brainstorming a little bit, kind of like what I was going to talk about on a walk with my dogs, like the few days ago when I was getting ready to fly out here, and I was like, man, I really want to bring the story up of because Gage, you've always listened to like older music that nobody like knew about. There's this one vivid memory of us like coming in from a practice or game. It was something I can't remember. Gage gets on the aux and he puts on Poison by Bell Biv DeVoe, and he just starts like the whole thing. He's just like, that girl. I was like, and for some reason, we were in the freshman locker room just going crazy to Poison because of you. Like, I was like, who? Like, I don't think we were super close at that time. I was like, who is this kid? Like, this is amazing. Like, obviously, we're on the football team and we're friends and stuff, but we were not like as close at that time. And I was like, I don't know why that story, like, and that is a vivid memory of like Orange Lutheran. Like, every time I hear that song, I think of you. It's so funny.
Oh my God, what a memory, dude! I totally remember that. Like Malone and everybody was like, everyone was all like, that girl is
just going crazy,
dude. Oh my God, what a time, dude. Man, so there's been a lot that's happened since I've seen you, and honestly, I want to ask because I've also been super curious. Because I didn't know that's why you stopped playing at Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Was because you got hurt. Because I was always curious I knew you were supposed to go to Arizona. I didn't know you played at the Aggies at Utah State because I have a friend that goes to 24. His name is Isaiah that used to play for the Aggies as well. And he got hurt and was back. And then obviously I knew you went to Texas Tech. What was your journey to Texas Tech and what happened that caused you to stop playing?
Okay, so
why did you ultimately end up at Tech?
Yeah, so the defensive coordinator that recruited me at Arizona State ended up going to Utah State.
Gotcha.
And I was kind of, obviously there's all the NCAA rules and all that stuff, but when I decommitted, my recruiting got reopened.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I hit him up and I was like, hey, you guys got a spot for me? He was like, yeah, we just had a scholarship open up. Like, we'd love to have you up here. So that was my journey to Utah State. Really, really kind of simple. And then that coaching staff that recruited me to Utah State ended up going to Texas Tech. So I stayed at Utah State for a year and wanted to, because I love the school. Like, it's beautiful up there. You know, I really, really liked the guys when I went on the visit. Like, there were all the things were, you know, everything was lining up really great. And new coaching staff came in, and it didn't go as well as I wanted it to.
Yeah.
Got my position moved around a little bit. They were making me gain and lose a bunch of weight, all this stuff. So it wasn't a good football situation. And when you're playing, when it's a job, you want to at least be in a good situation, like, and be in a position to be able to embrace the suck. Because, like, if you're embracing the suck in a shitty situation, that makes it even worse, you know. Like,
totally.
But as long as you have if you have a positive environment around you and you're able to, you know, embrace the suck in a positive environment with the coaches, like, the team was amazing. I was super close with the team. Like, some of my best friends I met at Utah State. And then my neck started having some problems again with the Stingers, and I played 4 games, had to redshirt that year, ended up doing some, like, injections and some stuff in my neck. And it helped a little bit. So basically, for everybody at home, like, there's a foramen that comes off of your spine. So, like, off of your, why am I blanking out? Like, where the discs are, there's, like, the little nerve canals that come off of your spine. Mine would get super inflamed to the point to where, like, my nerve would just be, like, almost clamped down on. So every time it would get compressed, it would
fire in a weird way.
It would make my arm go numb. And there was really there's one procedure for it, but it's like a year-long recovery, and there was no...
Pretty invasive,
yeah,
too.
Super invasive. Like, they have to go in and, like, bore out that nerve canal. And I'd be in a neck brace for a while and all this stuff. I was like, I don't really... Like, let's just see how far I can... I'm just going to keep going and see... Do all the... You know, try and do all the preventative stuff. Stay in the training room. Like, do all the things.
Totally.
And... Because I really didn't want to have that surgery. And got to Texas Tech. Because the coaching staff was there. I got in the transfer portal, which was, like, the first year the transfer portal was a thing. Which was crazy.
So you were into, like, really before NIL was really a thing.
Yeah, so NIL started, I think, a year or two after I stopped playing. Oh, wow. But there's, like, this whole lawsuit now. Like, there's a settlement going on so they're trying to at least, like, compensate some of the athletes that, you know, just missed out on some NIL opportunities, which is great. Like, I'm glad that they're doing that, you know, but whatever. It's like, it's going to be like a few grand, which is great. I'm not going to say no to free money, but
exactly.
So got to Tech, followed the defense coordinator again. People are like, what? You'd never follow a coach like that. But he believed in me so much, for somebody who was really, honestly, had great stats in high school, like, was a good player. I don't want to say under-recruited. I mean, I had some offers and things like that. But when you have a coach that really believes in you, it's hard to not want to be coached by them.
Of course.
So went down there, played a season. My neck was really bad. A lot of stingers. Just was not getting better. It was kind of in this thing of, okay, I could play, and then it would get bad, and then I'd have to rest. And then I could play, and then I'd have to
just
rest.
Just a vicious cycle.
And then I'd play, and then I'd have to rest. And at that point, I started to, like, it really made it hard to love the game still when you're just kind of, you know, you're just fighting to be on the field. And it made me not be able to play the way that you described me as, you know, just being able to, I like to use my head, unfortunately.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
And that was part of the downfall of why I had neck problems.
Definitely.
So
I'd like to use my head.
yeah, like
getting hit by this dude was not fun.
And it ended up changing my game. Which, is good.
Mm-hmm.
It was probably for the better that I had to change the way I played. But at the same time, I couldn't do it the way I loved to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So got to this point where I just kept going back and forth. I was like, man, do I want to keep playing? Do I want to keep playing? And I didn't have to medically retire. Like, I could have kept going, but I didn't really want to run that risk.
Yeah, what's the risk to reward at that point?
At that point, it was just like, when's my last hit?
Mm-hmm.
When is it going to happen? Like, when am I going to just lose feeling in my arm? It was just one of those things. And I wanted to get out before I created any irreversible damage.
Mm-hmm. Which is smart.
Yeah, 100%.
That's hard, but that's
super
smart.
hard. It was honestly a really grueling couple months while I was going through this process of figuring out, do I want to keep doing it? Do I not? Obviously, came to the conclusion, talked to a lot of people, a lot of coaches, a lot of friends, a lot of family about the decision.
Totally.
And, everybody was 100% supportive of, not continuing to play. And, I came to terms and made peace with my career, and it was really tough, but I ended up getting a dog, like a week after I stopped playing.
No better companionship than a dog.
Oh,
let me tell
it was
you.
the best decision I ever made because I was able to put all of my time and energy into this puppy I just got.
Yeah.
When I was at that time lacking purpose.
I was stole the words out of my mouth.
Yeah, I was lacking purpose. I was having a hard time finding my new identity, outside of football, being a college athlete. That's kind of, I always encourage people now to not be your sport. You need to have an identity outside of your sport, because some people, it does last a really long time, but it never lasts forever.
Mm-hmm.
And sooner or later, you're going to have that
transition.
Yeah, transition time. So I really try and advise and help people and give people advice on have other hobbies, do other things, try and develop an identity outside of your sport, which is hard because right now college football and college athletics in general is in such a weird spot with the NIL and transfer portal and all these things, and how much pressure now is. There was already a ton of pressure before NIL, but now you throw that money on top of things and boosters, and there's this whole other layer of, that's almost like a professional athlete now.
Well, yeah, I mean, it basically is. I guess, what's your definition of a professional?
Yeah.
And my definition is you get paid to do what you do. Therefore, you're a professional.
Yeah.
And I mean, college athletes are, I guess, totally now. And in my mind, by that pretty standard definition, you're a professional athlete now.
Yeah, and it's
which can muddy the waters a lot.
100%. It's definitely an interesting time of college athletics. I'm excited to see where it goes, because I think college players deserve to be paid with the amount of time and effort and everything that goes into it. But it's like I said, it's just in a weird spot right now.
Totally.
But going back to the injury and all that stuff, got my dog. Took 6 months to be a college just a college student, and enjoy it. Live a normal college life. Go to games and tailgate and do all the things, and it was amazing. I loved that time, but I was like, I need to be around athletics.
Totally. I was gonna say, so that kind of your sad but also inevitable kind of ending in sports kind of has now led you into your new direction, which is also something that I'm super curious about. And that was honestly a huge reason why I was super excited to have you on the podcast, because I always love talking. As everybody knows, I'm a big fitness guy.
Yeah.
I'm a big health guy. I'm a big fitness guy. I have a lot of people ask me questions about fitness, but I honestly have a lot of people ask me questions about supplements or peptides
geez.
or you
Yeah.
know, what can I take? What can I do this?
Yeah.
What do you take? Yada yada, all this. And I'm not super versed on it because I don't take really anything. I take 5 milligrams of creatine every morning, and I eat a lot of food, and I have 2 protein shakes a day, and that's all I take.
Yeah.
And so when people ask me questions about, especially supplements or stuff, I mean, I know
I'm sure
that
you get so many questions because of how you look. Like, you're extremely dialed in.
a lot of people think I'm on something.
Yeah, 100%. But like, for people out there, Gage has looked like this since he was freaking 13.
Yeah.
Like 14 years old. Like when we were in high school. Like, he's been shredded his entire life.
It has, truly, and it's
Like-
and I swear to God, I do not try to stay like that.
I know.
I don't. I really don't. I wish
And
I could
this
gain
guy
some weight.
eats super clean. Like, I really respect that. Like, and you know, supplements aren't for everybody either. Like, I know a bunch of people that I think they help, and there is a lot of value in them, especially when they're dosed correctly. You're using the proper nutrients, and you know, you're part of a regiment that's, if you do blood work, you know, it can help really a lot of things in blood work and really help you get to your optimal self 100%. But I think there is something to say, like, I always tell people, don't start using supplements if your diet, your sleep, your habits and all this stuff isn't
in a line,
and isn't dialed in. Because when I did my bodybuilding show, that really made it evident to me, was like, because I've been training my entire life, you know, and if you're just starting to work out, or if you're wanting to take that next step, like, be dialed for like a year or 2 years and 3 years. Because you can get so much out of that before you even start adding the supplements and all these other, you know, interventions like peptides and all these things.
Totally.
You can get so much done. And in that time, you're also developing yourself. You know, you're growing as, you know, yourself. You're learning things about your body. You're learning things about yourself, like pushing yourself in ways that you probably never have before.
Totally.
You know, and changing diet is hard, especially if, like, for me, it's hard for me to relate to that, because I grew up in a household where my mom's a dietitian, my dad is in, you know, integrative medicine and works with professional athletes, all these really, you know, high caliber people. And you know, so I've always eaten a certain way my entire life. And I got away from that in this last year, which we'll kind of get into struggles and things like that. But changing diet, I think, is probably one of the hardest things for a lot of people, because you're trying to change a lifetime's worth of, I don't want to say bad eating habits, but bad eating habits.
Yeah. Or a lifetime of inconsistency,
I
think, is like what I tell people a lot. And I don't mean to interrupt you, but I want to like interject a point, because I tell like my athletes this, or people who just ask me, like, especially when it comes to like the supplement conversation, I always am the proponent of like, hey, okay, you know, first of all, do your research and look up, et cetera, gather the information that you need, talk to your parent, talk to your whoever you need to talk to, see if that would be a good thing for you. But what I would recommend you start first is, number one, obviously food, but I'm like, how much water do you drink? What is your pre and probiotic intake look like? What does the microbiome health of your gut look like? How do you feel? Like, can you try and optimize your body's natural performance by just maybe implementing a better habit, implementing more consistency, maybe trying to increase your nutrient retention naturally by, you know, adding some new things in, doing some things better, and see how that makes you feel before you're like, the pill in the bottle is the answer. It's like, like what's your micronutrient intake look like? Do you get macros, but do you get micros? Where's all your greens, your phosphoruses, your magnesiums, your Ks, your all of the, like, where's all of the micros to go with the macros to make it all work before you try and jump into something that you're like, oh, well, my homie takes this or whatever. Well, it's like, yeah, like to your point, yeah, your homie might have been dialed for 2 years or was an athlete or has been around maybe an environment where there's a positive influence for healthy habits, how your body should operate, all these type of things before.
No,
I'm going to take some shit that I don't really know what it is.
No, you're 100% right. I mean, to me, I think there is a distinction between athletes and Gen Pop, though. Like, if you're an athlete, I do think there is a core few things that you should be taking as an athlete. You know, creatine. You know, if you do want to do some sort of protein supplementation, whey, plant-based, whatever. Magnesium, like, is a huge, like, especially for athletes. Like, athletes are underdosing magnesium so much, and it helps with so many. Involved in over like 300 metabolic processes in the body. So like magnesium, you know, vitamin D, and like a good multivitamin or something along those lines, especially if like high school athletes. Don't get me wrong. You can get really dialed like once you get to college and professional. Like that's what we do. That's what my dad does. That's what he's been doing for 40 years is dialing in these, you know, military operators, athletes, all CEOs, all this stuff. Because there is that level that you can go to, and sometimes it's needed. And I think the way that health and wellness is going, that's going to be a lot more accessible to be doing precision health, especially with how blood work's getting so popular and peptides and all these things are getting super popular. But there is still value in the basics, you know, and that's, you can't, a lot of people try and when they go get their blood work done or they go do these things, they're just putting Band-Aids on bullet holes. You know, like you have to fix the foundational metabolic issues within your biochemistry first before anything else. Like you want to go do like, and don't get me wrong, peptides are actually really good at doing that.
For sure.
They're really, really good at helping you fix these foundational metabolic processes to where, you know, then you can start getting really granular, and from there, you can go. There's a rabbit hole. Let me
for
tell
sure.
you,
And
there's a rabbit hole.
I was talking to someone the other day. My girlfriend works at a dance studio, and the guy who owns a dance studio is a very, very successful physical therapist. He has multiple physical therapy practices, but at his main one in I think it's Laguna Hills or Aliso Viejo, he's now started introducing peptide therapy, and he was telling me the incredible data revolving around like tissue regeneration when it comes to peptides, because especially when it comes to like injuries or maybe like for example, because I was talking about my shoulder. I don't have an AC joint in my right shoulder. I lost it completely, so it's just my clavicle and my AC separated, landed on top of each other. It's all just scar tissue.
When did that happen?
Oh my god, dude, that was 2015. 2015.
So that was freshman year?
Yeah, it was freshman year. It was my freshman year.
When was that? What happened?
That was right. No, it was my freshman going into sophomore because I finished wrestling season, and then on the off season, that's when I hurt myself. Gotcha. And then I was like never really quite the same for the next 2 years, and then basically took me like 2 years to recover, and then I went and played rugby, which is like
I remember that.
Yeah, super great idea. Played rugby for a couple years.
That's funny.
And but it was like it's now stronger than it ever has been just because of the way that I train now and just being older and more knowledge. But there's also been that kind of part of me where I'm like, I've heard a lot of people say good things about peptides when it can come to that kind of helping tissue regenerate or fixing maybe some of those internal problems, whether it's muscular or, you know, whatever that case may be. Like I said, I'm not an expert on this. This is not my lane. But I've thought about something like that for myself, you know, seeking more information I'm thinking long term for my shoulder. You know what I mean? Because I'm not going to get surgery now.
No reason to. You know, if you've been just fine for a while.
Yeah,
you
for
know,
sure.
And I think the way you're training now and everything like that is really helping it. But
Big
I
time.
definitely think you should look into it for sure, because there's a lot of really safe ones, you know, and that can really help for you know, supporting tissue repair and supporting, you know, inflammation process in your body. Like there's a lot of things that some of them are really good at doing and are extremely safe and I'm not medical professional either. So I just have my dad as
Totally.
a really great source of information because he's the clinical co-chair, or he's the chair of the International Peptide Society, and also clinical co-chair of the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine.
Wow.
So he's educating practitioners on peptide therapy and how to use them properly in practices across the country.
Gotcha.
So I definitely, obviously, see value in peptides because of that. But I do want to kind of circle back to.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't want that to take away from what you do because
because
Metabolic Elite is not peptides.
We have one.
Okay.
And we're trying to do more. But I wanted to circle back to football still.
Oh yeah.
Because there was some doors that opened after I stopped playing. Like as far as
okay.
If I was continuing to play, I wouldn't have been able to be a research assistant. I wouldn't have been able to be a strength conditioning graduate assistant. Like how you were saying, it led me down the path of what I'm doing now. I met, not together anymore, but I met my ex in Lubbock. She's from Yorba Belinda.
Oh.
Like it was crazy that we met out there. And like I've met an amazing girl, the whole like typical college thing.
Yeah,
and, like we played really important roles in each other's lives for the time we were together, and it was amazing. So that happened. Like all these amazing things happened as soon as I closed the football door and opened another door, and all these opportunities started coming. I got to go do things with my dad. I started working in my last semester of my master's. I got to travel with him and like go to Fort Bragg and do some really, really cool stuff with the military while I was in school. So yeah, like I said, a lot of things happened that were amazing. After football,
once one door closes, another one always opens.
100%. And then going back, now we can bring it full circle to Metabolic Elite.
Yes. So kind of give a little breakdown into like a statement. So, a brand statement of what is Metabolic Elite.
So Metabolic Elite is an advanced supplement company where we go beyond the foundational stuff, because we have a patented delivery system for nutrients and peptides and small molecules. So it's a chewable liposomal tablet that is what our patent's on worldwide. All nutraceuticals, pharmaceuticals, we're the only company that can do it right now. And it's really cool because we're able to get the nutrient and the particles really, really small. So under 100 nanometers is really under 150, you get enhanced absorption, but we're able to get ours under 100. Wow. So with that, you need less of the nutrient. So not as many milligrams of it, and you can get the same effect out of it because it's being absorbed better in your body.
Gotcha.
And it's chewable, which is awesome. Like everybody's got pill fatigue now because everybody's getting pills shoved down their throat and stuff. So we think we have a really cool opportunity in the market to really shake it up. And our team is obviously, my dad founded the company. Our team's made up of 5 amazing coaches on our board. Cal Dietz, University of Minnesota, Jim Snyder, University of Wisconsin, Mike Potenza, Director of High Performance at the San Jose Sharks, Kevin Neal, Director of Performance at the Boston Bruins, Ben Peterson, Vice President of Player Performance, I believe, at the Atlanta Hawks. Wow. So we have an amazing team, and we think we really have something special in this LPT technology that we have. And we're also super passionate about continuing education for strength coaches as well. So this year we have a lot of plans for some education courses and, just really trying to put out high quality information for coaches on how to obviously on the strength coach side of things, we'll have like some interventions and protocols and stuff like that. But how do you blend? Like, how do you really, really have a dialed in holistic approach to, human performance? And that means, what are they doing for their diet? What are they doing in the training room? What are they doing for their supplements? What are they doing for their blood work? What are they doing? Like, really, really doing a comprehensive look at everything and giving people really good information and help them develop these protocols within their programs or within their facilities and stuff like that. So I am the president of Metabolic Elite. I got learning a lot with that title, let me say. I went to school for science and got thrown into running a company. So, but I love it. I love every second of it. It's exactly what I thought I would be doing after college, working for my dad. He always pushes me and puts me in uncomfortable situations. And we haven't even hit our first year yet. So
Wow.
we're at 10 months this month since launch.
Wow.
So doing everything from marketing to shipping logistics to, back-end WordPress stuff, the website,
For sure.
like learning every aspect. We're going into we're hoping to raise some capital here and, after our first year of business. I've never raised capital before, but I'm guided by people who have and have had really good experiences and have done it before, and they're really helping me out through this. I have a really good core mentor circle that I reach out to when I either don't know what I'm doing or I have some imposter syndrome going on, where I'm like, I'm not qualified. I'm not qualified for this. Like, what the heck am I doing here? So, just been really in a state. I've been learning a lot of business.
Absolutely.
And it's great. I've really enjoyed it up to this point.
So what was like the process of launch in that sense? And because that's always like the supplement industry is like a lot of other industries, it is heavily oversaturated.
It is.
Heavily. And there's always people who are saying, mine does this does this, there's this new thing, oh, take this has et cetera in it. So what was the approach in order to launch? And then it sounds like, please correct me if I'm wrong, your lipotabs.
Yeah.
So that kind of seems to me that was the bread and butter of what kind of you guys were like, hey, we have something we could kind of hit the ground running and maybe come to the market with something a little bit different than
it's
what's
a lot
out
different.
there. Yeah. And so kind of explain a little bit more in detail what that is, because it seems that is your guys' technology. That's really the game changer that's going to dictate and discern you from
100%.
the hundreds of thousands of other supplements.
100%.
So it's more of a, I get the whole nanogram thing and to bring the size down so you get a higher absorption rate for your body. And is that for a higher absorption rate by the supplement, or is that a higher absorption rate with supplement and your diet? You're just overall retaining more nutrients while you're taking this, or
no? So it's actually enhancing the delivery of the supplement.
Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's enhancing how well your body's able to absorb the actual supplement that you're taking. So
gotcha.
Right.
To where if you're going to take like I don't know.
So I'll give you an example.
Yeah, please do.
All of the stuff that we have right now, all the products, we have 6 products. And we're about to launch a new one here in a couple weeks, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Every product we have are all typically supplements that the body doesn't absorb really well. So curcumin, green tea extract, glutathione. We have a couple of ginsenosides that are real, like ginseng extracts. Sorry, went a little sciencey right there. But 2 specific extracts from ginseng that we have for cognitive health. And then we have I'm missing one. And then we have the BPC 157 LPT, which is the peptide, which is crushing it. We have like 25 clinics that are using it now that have switched from, because you can't compound BPC 157 anymore. Sorry. Jeez. Rough night last night.
I got after it Friday night.
No, not too bad, but definitely a little feeling it. But see, we're all human.
Everybody is, dude.
But we've been getting some really good results with the BPC 157 from our practitioners.
Mm-hmm.
And that one's been crushing it for us. And then all the other ones are all nutrients, so they're all natural extracts. And glutathione's not absorbed well. Like I said, green tea extract's not absorbed well. Curcumin's not absorbed well. So we're able to use less of the material, so less actual active ingredient, but get the same effect as if we were using like a full dose of it in a traditional oral capsule.
Gotcha. So then in a sense, like you're getting the same amount of absorption or more absorption taking 100, say, milligrams, just for people who don't know what a nanogram is, in comparison to like if you were taking a 400 milligram tab, it's a higher dosage, so you're supposed to be getting more.
Yeah, but if your body can't absorb it, then
it's just expending all.
You may only get 100 out of that 400, and we like to pick supplements that the body doesn't absorb well, because that our technology really plays well into that. Totally. And people get some really great benefits from it. So so the launch process of the company, I'll give a little bit of background, because my dad has formulated supplements for a lot of big companies. Thorne, to say, that's one of them. He's been in the supplement industry for 38 years or 40 years, however long. Like, he was writing databases for like CVS and Rite Aid on supplements in like the 80s and 90s. So we've been in the space for a long time, and he's never really had the passion to, he has his own supplement line for clinical use only. He has a professional use supplement line, but he's never really wanted to get into the direct consumer.
DTC market is hard, dude.
He's never really wanted to, because of how oversaturated it is. Sure. And until we came across this like revolutionary technology, because we are really excited for it, and we think it's going to do really well. And it's, we have the patent on it, and it's a really cool innovation that hasn't been there yet in the supplement industry.
It's all proprietary to you guys.
Exactly. So before we had this partner with the LPT technology, my dad always knew he wanted to do a performance line, but he didn't want to do it just be another brand, So one thing led to another. Got the partnership with, he's actually I played football with, his son at Utah State, Gotcha. Believe it or not. And we were like, oh, what's your dad do? Oh, mine does this. What's yours do?
It's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah, exactly. And then it all happened from there, partnered up with him. It was about 2 or 3 years of research and development on the actual, which products we wanted to do, which material, which nutrients worked, which extracts worked, and what didn't. So it was a long process of, R&D, what do we want to go to market with first? All these things were, getting chewed on. I wasn't involved during like that whole time, but that last year right before launch is when I got involved, and, they were like, hey, Christian, we need you to push this thing across the finish line. I was like, all right, sounds good. Like, let's do it. Ended up launching, with some really amazing products, and we've virtually spent $0 on marketing this year, pretty much. Like, we've done a couple ad campaigns, and like the Instagram's all organic growth. Everything up to this point is all organic because our circle is so big.
Yeah.
with the people that we have involved.
Totally.
So we're really excited for year 2 coming up here soon.
Hell yeah, I'm excited for you.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you guys. This is incredible. And honestly, too, when I have to talk to you about it a little bit more off camera in the near future of possibly seeing what it could do for myself, because
100%.
Because that's kind of like something too that I want to now kind of transition to a little bit is like the training aspect of things. Like, just because I'm also super curious about kind of where you're at, how you train. Because you guys all know I all encourage everyone who listens to this show, doesn't listen to this show, follows me for music, follows me for whatever it is that you follow me for, listen to me open my mouth about, is I always encourage people to be healthy.
Yeah.
And always encourage, I'm telling you, it's going to make the biggest difference in your life. But I also, hold myself to a higher level in that sense where I like to try and I always like to say, I like to just stay ready so I don't have to get ready. And I want to be able to have my body in the most optimal peak physical form all the time. Honestly, I just got the Whoop too.
Nice.
I've been loving this thing.
That's awesome.
I've been getting so into it about
great.
the whole track and sleep thing and everything about it. But kind of on the training aspect of things, because you briefly mentioned that you kind of fell off this past year a little bit, and I totally get that. Like, it's super hard. And everybody out there, like I always say, especially if you're new into the gym or whatever it is, everyone has the ebbs and the flows. Everyone has the ups and the downs of the training. It's very hard to stay dialed every moment of every day. And also, whatever your goal is, hey, if you just want to get healthy and you walk into the gym is a step for you and you can stay consistent at that, you're doing better than 90% of the population because at least you're in there, But, so for myself, I switched my training to, I was maybe 2 years ago, I was a lot more like traditional compound, kind of heavier deadlift, squat, very, very ISO, kind of non-eccentric, sequence movement, and I was starting to notice an effect on my body.
Can we take a break real quick?
Yeah, you got to pee?
I got to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And I'm extremely hot.
Yeah. Absolutely. Sorry, everybody. Little bathroom break, little re-beverage break,
little take the jacket off break.
Take the jacket off break, little self-realignment break. But we're
That's
back.
a good way to put it.
Self-realignment.
I like that.
A little self-realignment break. Everybody needs it every now and then. No worries.
If people really knew
what happened, but it's all good.
That's funny.
What happens in the podcast stays in the podcast.
Exactly.
But I was kind of saying, so to kind of regroup to the point I was saying was training.
Yeah.
Because I'm just going to speak personally, and I kind of want to know your point of view and kind of like your journey. For me, I mean, obviously, I've always been an athlete. I've always been into it. And then once I got hurt and my shoulder kind of happened, and then it was pretty much the ultimatum of, hey, you could continue to play rugby, you could continue to do this, and if you're not going to go the surgery route, just be aware that if it was to come out again, you have a high possibility of being paralyzed in your right arm just because it's only nerves and scar tissue there now.
Yeah.
So I was like, maybe not. So started, obviously getting in the gym. I was like, this is going to be my new thing. And then for the first couple of years was definitely more like compound, kind of just very traditional stuff. And then I definitely took notice of my body was becoming slower.
Yeah.
Because it was becoming accustomed to only moving in a certain few couple ways.
Yeah.
And that's why I've recently, maybe past year and a half, 2 years, I really switched my training to very, very functional training, a lot of heavy rotation, a lot of full extensions, a lot of flexions, a lot of just incorporating how the human body is optimally supposed to move, and then figuring out how it could integrate that in a resisted way, whether it's with weight resistance or banded resistance or maybe body weight resistance, just to optimize how my body wants to move and how it should move. And man, let me tell you, dude, it has changed the game for me, and especially now, obviously, training so many athletes. I think also that's been a super standout of why I've also been able and so blessed to acquire a lot of clients really fast, is because
I know you're just crushing it crushing it right
Yeah,
now. It's amazing. It's
man.
good to see. That's why one of the first things I said when I walked in, I was like, dude, I love that you're coaching people because you're so passionate about it.
Totally.
And you're an amazing mentor and influence on kids. So
thank you. I appreciate that. And yeah, and I think it was because, kids and parents were seeing results so much faster than where they were at maybe at like an academy like Josh Wright, who was a big guy down in Newport, or like a Delta Academy, which are huge, like multi-million-dollar operations. And they come in here and in 2 weeks, it's like, hey, this kid's hips are swinging faster. His bat speed has gotten faster. His exit velo is higher. And I think a lot of that, too, comes from the athlete style kind of background. And also kind of to the point we touched on earlier is having yourself fully dialed. And to me, that's a way of having myself fully dialed, is not only the hydration, the nutrition, making sure I'm staying, on my P's and Q's on that, but also how I'm choosing to train my body training my body based on the outcome that I'm trying to get out of it, because I don't want to be stuck not being able to move 20 years from now because of my choices now. Like, that's why I say when older people are like, oh, I have knee pain, I'm like, well, when's the last time you fully flexed your knees completely and not just
the whole
walked?
Movement is medicine thing, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think just as I started doing that, I really believe in that testament now. Like, if you can just optimize the body in very untraditional ways too, to move it in an untraditional way, and then learning how to do that weighted or resistant, like I call them conditioned patterns. Like, for example, my baseball athletes, we do a lot of weird banded movements that are conditioned pattern movements to what they're going to be doing in play, but training it that way in the gym in a very eccentric way, to where there's trying to be a couple things happening at once to simulate what they're going to be feeling or doing on the field. And that's how I try to train now. And man, seriously, it's been incredible. And dude, being a D1 athlete, you have to know what I'm talking about, and you've been in the weight rooms and you've been in there and all these, it's crazy when you just switch things up a little bit and the different type of results. My body has gotten so much stronger, and I haven't gained any weight. I'm still soaking wet,
always been
a $156. Always been a problem. But I have noticed that my muscular density has gone up, and
you look heavier than you are.
Yes, exactly. And I swear to you, that's been just a total byproduct of moving my body and really the way that the body wants to be moved, just doing it in a kind of a fun, unique, untraditional way.
100%. I think, like you said, being an athlete's great because it does give you that background in it. I really grew a lot in my fitness when I was a strength and conditioning graduate assistant. I was in the weight room with college athletes for 14 hours a day.
Yeah.
Every day.
So I'm saying, the life.
When you start to read a lot on, training methodology, different types of training, like you're talking about all the different contractions, isometric, eccentric, concentric, how there's a lot of different philosophies out there on, there's omni contraction where you're training each contraction at different day of the week is a different contraction. So Monday may be eccentric, Wednesday may be concentric, and Friday may be isometric. That's not typically there's a lot more that goes into setting it up. I'm just trying to give an example of how it would look. So there's that. Then there's triphasic, where each block of training is focusing on a different contraction as well. So when you start looking and reading a lot of different methodologies, there's a million ways to skin a cat, and you have to find what works for you. And what I like to say, especially with these younger kids, just make them good movers first. Make them move well. Make them, have that explosive power. Just help their movement patterns just be more efficient, be better, less compensation patterns. Athletes are the ultimate compensators. As you get farther into your career, you get more injuries. you're pushing through pain, you're doing all these things, you're constantly developing these new compensation patterns to, oh, my left hip's hurt. Okay, I got to, compensate on my right or my knee, above or below, So I think with your population and what you're doing, like you're doing an amazing job because you just want them to move well. And you want to keep it fun because that's the ultimate thing is people, like they're still kids, It's got to be fun. Like the training's got to be fun. Yes, everybody wants to be a Division I athlete. Everybody wants to, have those dreams and aspirations, but it's still got to be fun. That's my big thing that's what I learned. I think I took things a little too seriously too early, which is not always a bad thing. I think for me it was, but nevertheless, when they get to college, if they do, the coaches will put weight on them.
Yeah.
They'll put muscle on them. Like, that's never the problem. That was where I think I got screwed up because I just love training. I was like, oh, I want to go in heavy, like go in big, show that I put in the work, in the off season. And I think that was honestly a detriment. Like hindsight's 20/20, right? Looking back, I wish I just going into college, maybe don't put on as much weight, like don't put on as much muscle too, like move better.
Yeah.
If I was focusing on moving better going into school, because like I said, going into college, you're getting food all the time. You're training hard. They're either going to put the weight on you or take the weight off of you.
Yeah.
One of the two. And like I said, it just kind of is all coming back to the just move better.
Yeah.
And as like you're talking about for the future decisions too, if you can squat, sprint, do all these things for a long period of time, you typically are going to live longer, and they're showing that muscle is the currency of aging. Like the more muscle you have throughout your lifespan, the better, and don't get me wrong. I think there is a point that is too much.
For sure.
Right.
For sure. I agree 100% as well.
Like not everybody needs to be walking around like Big Ramy or, like all these bodybuilders.
Totally.
Like that's their lifespan is much shorter. Right. So, there's definitely that cutoff point of how much is too much on that. But, muscle is so important. They're seeing, VO2 max is a major indication of aging now. Like, so the better your VO2 max can be for longer, the better, obviously. Like, to me, that the research is coming out, but to me, it's like, oh, yeah, like, that makes sense, right?
Yeah, you would say it's common knowledge to you.
Yeah, your aerobic capacity and stuff like that's better, so therefore you probably are going to live longer. Yeah,
probably have a healthier heart. Probably have a healthier cardiovascular system.
That makes pretty good sense,
Yeah.
And coming from, like I said, I had got such an amazing experience at Texas Tech with being an athlete. I literally was full circle on everything: athlete, coach, and then in a research lab.
Yeah.
So I understand what goes into research as well. So when I see things that are coming out in research, being able to disseminate it and go through it and read it and understand it, because research is intimidating. ChatGPT helps out with, like, honestly, like if you are curious about a subject, if you have it, like just type the subject in and have it compile all the research on this thing and do your own and download the PDF, put it right back in ChatGPT and say, hey, summarize this for me in whatever terms with the main results. And you can learn so much from that tool now.
For sure.
Whereas previously going in and searching PubMed and all these, research study databases it's daunting, and now there's tools to help, do more, be able to learn more quicker.
For sure.
Which is,
absolutely.
which
The
is
accessibility
really cool.
to information is even more at an all-time high right now, which I think is incredible because it gives people the opportunity to make a change and maybe implement a better consistency in their life with, I hate to say it, but with less work. You know,
I don't even know if it's less work. It's just like, just smart, like just
yeah, it's
working
smarter.
more
It's smarter
efficiently.
work. It's smarter work.
Smarter work.
Yes,
like
more. That's a better way to put it.
because there's a lot of really successful people that use it to their advantage. Like
Absolutely.
I was on a Zoom meeting with the other day. A guy runs like a multi-million-dollar diagnostics company, and he was sharing his screen, and like he had ChatGPT pulled up for some stuff, and I was like, all right, if this guy's using it, like it's not a shortcut. Like I feel like that's a big people are like, oh, you use ChatGPT, all this stuff, and it's like, no, it's like use it to your advantage.
Exactly.
Like don't
let it do the work.
Don't be that person that is like not letting AI be a tool, you know, like because it is an amazing tool. It's not a replacement. It's a tool, you know. So I use it all the time. I love it. I think it really helps me out on a daily. It makes my processes efficient on a daily basis with doing. We don't have a marketing team. We don't have a sales team. We don't have all of these things yet to where there's
all these other
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, so I had to find a way to make my processes more efficient.
Totally.
And it really helps that. And it honestly is linking back to the making your movements more efficient. Same thing in training. Like how you're saying the movements that these guys are doing in the games are kind of what you're trying to replicate. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a big debate on that. Like, sports specific training, like there's not really it's not really like sport specific, but I don't think it's like you want to mimic movement patterns that they're going to do on the field, right? Because then their transfer from training is going to be better.
Exactly. Yeah, and I totally 100% agree. Like I don't ever say it or advertise it as sport specific training. It's just in the best way conditioned patterns to get your body prepared to perform in the way at full speed that it's going to when you need to perform. Because if your body isn't used to being in that position, you're not going to be as efficient, or you're not going to be,
resilient.
Resilient. Exactly. Like, I sent out a little program to Milwaukee's Brewer player.
Oh, nice.
So he's, I guess, like my first pro guy. And he was in the facility.
That's got to be a good feeling.
For sure. Absolutely. And he was just in the facility, and because I'm huge on mobility, because flexibility and mobility is very different.
100%.
If, mobility is going to be a long-term solution to your issue, where flexibility is you're just going to stretch it out and it's going to go right back.
Yeah.
So I'm big on mobility, both, but I do a lot of mobility work with all my athletes. Usually their second or the third day, depending what the program is just all mobility. That's all we do, is just focus on getting the body to open up and move, so that way when we do work out, we can be more efficient.
That's great.
We can get more out of it.
Yeah.
So when he was in, he was like, dude, what is all this stuff? And then was kind of explaining to him, took him through a couple workouts, and then he was like, hey, do you think you would be willing to send me some videos, breakdowns, and some descriptions for me off season and during season, stuff like this that I could implement, because my shoulders, my this, last season I got injured and prohibited me from this, and I think maybe because my ankle wasn't prepared, my ankle joint wasn't able to do this, my internal rotation wasn't as strong as my external rotation type of thing, like those type of things. And it made me realize too that how important the nitty-gritty details are when it comes to those type of aspects, is starting from the feet type thing, all those little tendons and connective tissue need to be worked and trained if that is your ultimate result, if that is the output that you need them to do and perform at a high level, and also lower your risk of injury. We need to address this. And 100%. It's not as fun as lifting weights and doing fun stuff, but it's equally as important.
Yeah.
100% equally as important.
No, that's amazing. No, that's I think you have a great mentality and a good approach to it. And like I said, some people do just fine with the more traditional type lifting, and it works for them. And but there is it's kind of stuttering here, but it's kind of like how we were talking about. There's value in the basics, but when you need to get into the nitty gritty, you need to, because there's so much value in it as well. Like how you're just saying, there's there's value in training the connective tissue in your ankles. There's value in training the connective tissue in your feet. There's value in training, all these different things.
Absolutely.
That it's all important. That's
100%.
basically what I'm trying to say.
No, 100%. And I totally agree. Absolutely. Well, dude, we're already over an hour, believe it or not.
Are we really?
Yeah,
Oh
already over an hour. So I'm going to kind of ask 2 final things to wrap things up.
We're definitely gonna have to do a part 2.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do a part 2. I love having part 2.
There's too
part
many.
Are the best.
Because now I'm thinking, oh, there's so many things that we didn't even get to talk about.
Yep, I love part 2s, especially like when it's like maybe a couple months have gone by or you're back in town and like more things have happened. You're like, oh, dude, part 2, I'm in town. Let's do it. Actually, I'm gonna ask 3 things.
Okay.
So, first thing, 3 things for the general public to. Something they could start doing tomorrow or today to get themselves in better shape, or to maybe have a more consistent habit to achieve their fitness, health, longevity goals.
Yeah.
3 things, what would that be?
Oh, jeez. We might have to ask that again. No, we might in the recording. You may have to ask it again. Hold on, just give me a sec.
Oh. Dude, it's no worries. But so 3 things. If there was 3 things that
this is probably gonna be the most edited podcast you've ever done because
dude, you would believe it or not, it's not at all. Okay, so final 3 questions. First one is 3 things that you would tell the general population. 3 things that they could start doing today, tomorrow, to achieve their health, fitness, or longevity goals.
Okay.
What would those 3 things be?
1, consistency. I don't care what you do, just be consistent, and you'll see results. 2, walk more. Like, just get out, see the sun. Like, I love doing 10-minute walks after I eat. So, like, after you have your food, go out, do a 10-minute walk. Like, really simple. Like, those are 2 things that I think are super simple. Like, and if it just kind of depends on the context of the question. If it's people that are already going to the gym, the answer might be a little bit different. But I think the 3 tips that I'm going to give are just to help you be healthier in general.
Yeah, totally.
Be consistent. Do something every day. Whether it's, you don't have to go to the gym every day, but do something. Go walk, go on a run, go walk your dogs, like go out and do something active. Go to a yoga class, like do something, get out of your comfort zone, like just do something every day. And recovery is really important though. I think, I respect people that, really, really push themselves to the limit, like yourself. Like you push the limits of training and stuff like that. But I think they're starting to find out if the recovery, is so important because, bright stars burn fast, right? So you want to try and mitigate, and having the Whoop is great because you get your readiness score and you get all that and you get to track it. So long-winded answer, be consistent. And these are just so basic, but I feel like so many people just need.
Some people just got to start with the basics.
Start with the basics. Be consistent. Do something every day, and then whether it be the walks and all that thing that I just mentioned, and then the third one, do what works for you and have fun doing it and enjoy the process. You have to enjoy the process because if you're like. Find an accountability partner. Find somebody that's able to keep you on track in doing these things because there's so many. Part of the it's just society and culture that we're in is like there's so many things going on all the time. It's always nonstop. A lot of people work from home and work on their phones and stuff, so work's constantly in their face, and it's really hard for people, I feel like, to just decompress from how much pressure's on people now, just from whether it be social media, just all these different aspects of life. find something that you can have fun doing and enjoy the process, because like life's just way too short to be not enjoying what you're doing on a daily
100%.
basis. Like, so that's I think I'll just leave it there, because this is a whole nother topic that 100%. We could get into.
Absolutely, but I love that, especially the last one. Do what works for you is impeccably important.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Okay.
What is the next 6 months? What can we look for from Metabolic Elite?
We have a really exciting new product launching in a couple weeks for tissue oxygenation, aerobic capacity. It's a brand new extract out of France that we're going to be first to market with. So really, really good for hybrid endurance athletes. Super excited for that. And then the next 6 months, we're just really going to be pushing the content, man, like doing lifestyle shoots, trying to do some more podcasts, trying to do all those things, and really, really just continuing to build the brand and build the identity of the brand over the next 6 months. I think it's going to be really important. And then we're also making a big professional sports teams push as well, because all of our products are, third-party certified and okay for sport and tested to the highest standards. So,
Sweet.
Yeah, man.
That's huge.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
Thank
If you guys ever need a random podcast guest, let me know.
I got you. I got you, man.
Let me know.
I would love to have you on.
Let me know.
I'd love to have you on ours too. Get you out to Dallas and shoot some content.
In their like swimwear, brother.
Yeah, let's do it,
dude. Okay. Well, final question.
Okay.
Everybody gets asked it. You guys all know it. It is 7 on 7's one life advice question. So whether it could be someone you know or someone random on the street comes up to you and says, Christian, I need a piece of life advice right now. I'm struggling. I need something to help pull me out. What would that piece of life advice be?
Man, this is tough. It's people are probably gonna be like, God, this guy's such an asshole. But it's just like, it's not that serious. Like, that's really just it. Like, oh man, that's such a.
It's a loaded question.
It's a loaded
Trust
question.
me, I get it. I get it. Trust me, you're not the only one that's been like, oh, I don't know how I'm supposed to answer this. One thing.
No, I really think it's just like, don't take yourself too seriously. Like, still be that kid. You know, like, still strive for more. Like, be goofy. Like, just it's okay to be in touch with like your inner child. Like, enjoy. Like, still be that kid. Still, but also obviously, we're adults. You have to be an adult. You can't just like
totally. It's a balance.
Go get gummy bears all the time and like. But like as a kid, like, but it's like I said, it's not that serious, and just enjoy the process of life. Like, that's really it.
Absolutely.
That's what I've been really trying to embrace for myself is, I'm my biggest critic anyway. So I try to tell myself like, hey, it's not that serious. Like, it's okay it's okay to not know what you're doing. It's okay to learn. And that's been my entire last 2 years, is just constant learning and evolving. And
that's what life is about, bro.
That's exactly it.
That's what life is literally about.
Yeah.
If you're not constantly learning, constantly evolving, you're doing something wrong. And I think it fits so perfectly. My last guest on the podcast said something very similar, and I just want to share it for anyone who's listening to this, is don't marry yourself so much to whatever you're doing, whatever it is that you're doing. Don't marry yourself so much to it that you lose yourself.
Yeah.
Like,
100%.
If you're an artist, a CEO, if you're starting a brand, whatever it is, don't marry yourself so much to that idea, to the concept, to where you lose who you are, because then there's no fun in it.
100%. And I struggled with that at the beginning.
Yeah, I bet.
100%. And
sure.
I'm still struggle with it sometimes, where it's like it's like I am Metabolic Elite, or I am this, I am that. It's like, no, like, I'm Christian LaValle, like.
But you can be both.
Yeah, 100%. Just don't lose sight of it, like you were saying.
Exactly, 100%. Well, dude, this was fucking amazing.
It was.
This was amazing. I'm so happy to have you on. It's so good to see you. This is crazy. When do you fly back to Texas?
Tomorrow.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, man. This was so overdue. This was so overdue.
Long time coming.
Long time coming. I'm so excited for you in the future. And like I said, when you're back out here, please let me know. I would love to have an update episode to kind of see what you've been up to. But guys, that is going to do it. Episode 40 of the podcast is now in the books.
Let's go.
We will be back next week. I have another awesome guest next weekend for you guys. I'm so excited. But Christian, my fucking boy, dude, thank you so much for coming on, for sharing, for talking. This was an absolute pleasure. I hope you had a blast. I had a blast.
Oh, I did. Thanks for having me.
Okay.
I hope everybody found some value in today's conversation.
I know everybody did.
Yeah.
I know everybody did. All right, guys, as always, if you guys enjoyed the show, please share it. Share it with your mom, share it with your friend, share it with your girlfriend, your dog, anybody. That's how we grow. We will see you guys next week. I love you. Lates.
Let's go. That was awesome.